I spent a little time in Mexico. It was like sort of a combination, double birthday, anniversary, celebrating, opening a new restaurant, all those things at one time. Um, so, I was trying very hard to follow a wise man's words, which were celebrate the victories, and we did a great job doing that. So I am refreshed and slightly tanned, and ready to go to work. So you're right, we do have a big show today, and it starts with a discussion about departmental equality. And it wasn't Mexico that got me in this mode. It was actually reading this book called The Method, and it's really, really interesting. And it is almost entirely about how Method built a culture that ultimately led their company to success. And I don't want to quote the numbers, but a whole lot of sales and creating a new niche for themselves. And one of the things that they mentioned in there was a part about, so many people see the customer service department as really complaint answerers and phone answerers, and they made a very specific effort in talking about departmental equality to move that call center right in the middle of their offices. When you walked into their offices, it wasn't like this big palace. It was a pretty wide open space where everyone worked on the same team towards the same goal, and really all experienced the same culture, and it was very effective for them. And then Angie and I got to Mexico, where the places that we usually stay, we tried a new place this time, really participate on this level. And we've gotten to know some people there and actually have made some friends and visited them outside of the country and in other countries and in this country before. And they always made a point to say that a big part of the Mexican culture had to do with there was no looking down on anyone, at least in these resort situations where the housekeepers were as important to the team as the servers were important to the team, as the people answering the phone were important to the team. And it always made a difference in our experience in Mexico. I mean, really a huge difference, because it was a very consistent message. Well, it just so happened that the place we were staying at this time, phenomenal service. And from the actual service providers, the servers, the bartenders, the people who were there when that happened. But there was a disconnect in the culture between the general manager and the offices, and it threw everything off. And so it was just sort of on the top of my mind, and I wondered how much thought you had given to not depart, because obviously departments are necessary, but trying to be careful and making sure everyone feels like they're part of the team.
It's a really good question, and it's probably a little easier to execute in small businesses than mid-size or bigger companies, because I would say that, once you get up into certain, job descriptionville, it's a little trickier because, if you're in the HR department, then you're not in the sales department, no matter what. Although every speech I've given for the last several months says, yes, you are in fact in the sales department. Everyone in the whole company is in the sales department. There's nothing but a sales department, cleverly disguised as whatever your other job is. Same with, you're also all in the customer service department. So I think in bigger companies, it's a little harder. I think in smaller companies, it becomes kind of par for the course in a way. Although, to your point, Joe, I mean, let's use restaurant because that's your world. If we were in the restaurant business, you can't expect your host to get back there and start making up mac and cheese. So I'm going to go with the fact that it's probably not, there's got to be some guidelines to it. But I think where you go with that is probably towards a common goal and vision, like you were stating. I mean, the method was to say, we're all aiming at this same target, no matter what your role is, help everybody get that plane launched. That's my take.
Yeah, and I think that's where I was going at. It's realistic to have departments, obviously, but keeping them all on that same page and keeping them all unified in their culture seemed to be, the more I looked around, the companies that are really successful, small and large, had a common thread here about common culture and being on the same page. So I thought it was something that was interesting. It was really cool to read about it from Method and then actually see it be broken. When it was broken at this particular resort in Mexico.
Exactly. I mean, seeing the opposite is, I think, quite obvious. There's quite an opportunity to really feel and smell that when it doesn't work so well.